Hey everybody, this is Jess Bear. Welcome back to Jess Bear Chats. I hope you're all doing well, you're keeping safe, and you're keeping well fed. I have been pretty busy the past couple of days. There was a very long party on Zoom on Saturday for the amazing Laura O'Brien. I hope that she is well recovered from the festivities. And just yesterday, I was in a Bealtaine class, which some of us also know as Beltane in the states. Um, but that was a very interesting class, and of course very timely as Bealtaine is coming up this Friday, May 1st. There was a lot of new information that I received from that class. You may be interested in that, and I would highly recommend a lot of great resources and a lot of fantastic discussion that was happening, and a very interesting and useful journey around Bealtaine. You can check that out at the Irish Pagan School, and that should be up in the next couple of days for those who weren't there for the first live class. So I know, by the way, maybe I should put this out there. I am not a paid spokesperson of the Irish Pagan School. I am just a very happy and excited student of it. So, yeah, so when you see the plugs, it's because I'm actively using it. I am actively gaining information from them, and I want other people to be getting that same experience and to, gain the same uh, type and level of good information. So, so there's that unofficial plug. But anyway, so took the Bealtaine class. Um, some important takeaways from me was that one, Bealtaine is as liminal a space as what we recognize in Samhain, or yes, no, Samhain. Uh, for those of who may not be as familiar, Samhain is a liminal, a a thin time of space, a holiday that is celebrated at the end of October and beginning of November. And it's often celebrated as a time for not just the other world, but also um, the recently departed having the ability to move on or to come and greet and intermingle with the living. But in the Irish tradition, there's a very big focus on the other world, having more access to the world that we live in today. So, point is, Bealtaine is sort of like a Samhain, but just with more sun. And in that, it means it's a very it is a celebratory time, but it's also a time where it can be a little dangerous because of how thin the membrane between the two worlds is. And so there's a lot of protection that goes into that. So that was interesting, something that I did not really know. The other was, which I was beginning to have an understanding of before, but Bealtaine is not a just a sexy fun time, which it is sort of celebrated as that here in the States and in other places. Um, it's not it's definitely a time to get rambunctious if you are into that sort of thing, and also getting into a little bit of mischief and trouble with your neighbors and your friends. But it was a big time of prepping and planning and preparing to take on the hiring of new people or to be hired for work. That would often, in Ireland, would take you away from your family for months at a time. So, with that in mind, and also to again, cannot stress enough the mischief of the other world is very prevalent, and there's a lot of protection charms, spells, and things to do in order to make sure that your prosperity is not stolen from you. So, and also, if you were so inclined to maybe get some prosperity that was stolen from you not too long ago. So, so there was that. I learned that in the Irish tradition, it's not really, the maypole isn't really celebrated. It is a May bush, which I will be doing later this week. I'll be showing the maybush that I make out of the local flora and fauna that's local to me and nearby and doesn't cost too much. Um, and finally, it is a time of Big Dagda energy. Because it has a lot to do with the planting, with preparing to do the work that needs doing for the success, the prosperity, and the survival of the community. And An Dagda is a big part of that. He's known as a shaper of the land. He's known as a keeper of abundance, as a hard worker, the physical type of labor, and all sorts of things. And he is known as a king of the She, or the other folk. So it is a very important and good time for me to be considering and prepping for um, making a contract with An Dagda. I also learned that while renewals of contracts are usually done on May Day or Bealtaine, May 1st, it's advised to do new contracts the day after. This is important for me in particular because that is when I'm going to be hosting a Fresno feasting hall online. So this is a group that I started last year as a community get together. Very simple. It was a potluck. And we would get together, we would share our food together, we would have a small ritual, and then we would talk as a community about what are the needs that need to be met, what are the things that our community would like to see happen, and that sort of thing. But it was a really great way, a really great opening to doing the work that An Dagda has been asking me to do. So it was an unofficial contract, um, but it was something that I promised to do by hosting that space. And in a COVID-19 world that we are living in, a potluck is not really feasible. So on May 2nd, I will be hosting the Fresno Feasting Hall online from 12 to 2 on a Zoom. I will be sharing the Zoom link once that is up and running. I am borrowing the Zoom account from Between the Veils. Between the Veils is a convention that's hoping to happen in the future for the pagan community in San Jose, California. And they have been very gracious to let me have use of their Zoom account for free. So we're going to be trying this. We're going to be trying to put on a ritual and a sharing a meal and a little bit of bardry, some music, some poetry, some songs, and then discussion. And this is the first time I'm doing that. I'm a little nervous, but hopefully it'll go well. And yes, you are invited. Like I said, once the Zoom thing gets figured out, I will be posting links in the next couple of videos. So stay tuned, check that out. So, as I've been working on the contract, and now with this new information about Bealtaine, about essentially starting an inventory, not just an inventory, but an assessment of what needs to be done and what type of support and tools are you going to need in the coming season? And that is helping shape my contract negotiations quite a bit. In part because currently I have a lot on my plate. I have a lot of projects and I have a lot of ideas and plans and things I would like to see happen. However, I am only one person and I'm also one person in a larger part of a community. And that means some things there are already resources for and some things aren't. I'll give an example. Fresno Feasting Hall. While that does have the support of the community and it's for the community and the community comes out and helps, overall this is a project that is directly attached to my spiritual path and the work that I feel needs to be done, and it is sort of my baby. And it's been taken very well. Um, it's like I said, this coming uh, community meal is going to be a mark of 1 year. And this is the first thing that I've ever done that I've started that has actually lasted into a year. And that really means a lot to me. And that also tells me that An Dagda has me in the right place and knows that this is the work that needs doing and it's being supported in that way. On the other hand, there's another project that's also a community project that isn't taking off. And it's been a big struggle. And I also don't feel like I have the resources for it anymore. I'm also, to add extra layers, trying to get more involved, more intense study of my Irish pagan path. I'm also looking for a new job. I'm also taking care of my household and my husband and our kids, which are our furry kids. Yes, furry kids, cats, dogs. And finally, I have had to take some time to look over not only what is I want to do, but what am I capable of. And that's something that I'm going to be working on, is really looking in and not only just assessing on the surface level of what it is I can and can't do, but doing a deeper dive and possibly doing what is called shadow work. There are many ways to describe that, and there's different traditions around it. But my understanding of shadow work is stuff that is usually under the surface, is unseen. It's stuff that we could be embarrassed or ashamed about. It's not our best characteristics, and so we try to hide them or layer them. We try to pretend that they aren't there. So I believe that now is a time for that introspection and to be truly honest about what it is that I really want to do and what is an illusion. What is something that I think I want, or, you know, I think I need to attend to and really isn't something that I need to do. A lot of these decisions are not easy. As a community oriented person, as a people pleaser, and that's a bit of honest shadow work I've done in the past, I recognize that sometimes when I'm choosing to do a lot of projects, it's because I don't want to let people down. And I don't want to um, feel like I've led people on, right? There's also a lot of imposter syndrome in that too. So I need to confront that and I need to figure out, well, what about these projects, you know, is a part of this? Do I really want to keep, holding on to something that isn't working because I feel like I can actually contribute to it? Or is it time to maybe pass it on to somebody that does have the resources to take care of it and not feel guilt and shame for failing at something? So there's a lot that goes into that, right? So that's where I'm at in this process. And I'm also checking in about how I'm feeling right now because we are still living in a pandemic world. This COVID-19 world is very real and it is affecting everybody, including me. And I know that there has been a lot of, uh, I would say, triggering. I don't want to be flippant about that, but I do have anxiety and depression. And when I feel overwhelmed, when I don't get enough sleep, when I'm not doing physical exercise, if I'm not being honest about not only how I'm feeling, but what I can take on, then things start to go a little wonky. Um, and I start holding up or I start isolating. And so I have to be very aware and careful of that. I know that's not everybody's experience, but I do believe that everyone is experiencing a sort of trauma response to everything that's going on in the world. And we need to start calculating those risks and assessments into our planning, into our contract making, into any goal or project that we're doing. And that's something that I'm trying to do here too. Even with working with An Dagda, because where I was a year ago and where the world was a year ago is so different from where it is now. So things are going to look a little different this time. Yeah, so I was interested, Oh, I also got a lot of great feedback on the last video. Thank you so much, everybody that left a comment or messaged me. Um, it's really exciting to read about folks that are hearing about me learning about this contract stuff and them getting inspired and excited to do their own thing. I really am interested to hear how that goes for you. So if I didn't answer any questions or if something new came up that you'd be interested to learn more about that maybe I can expand on, feel free to ask in the comments. And you can also email me at justbearchats@gmail.com. I will put that in the bottom part in the comment section. But yeah, I am interested in what your contracts are looking like if you are working on that. And also, do you celebrate Bealtaine? What does that look like for you? In a new world where we can't really meet with each other face to face, how do you celebrate this time of year? So, what are your plans? I hope to see you on the Zoom chat if you don't have any plans, that is. So, um, yeah, so I think that's about it for now. I did want to leave you with a couple of announcements and some information. Um, a big part of what I think this time of year is about. I'm also thinking because Ramadan, which is the um, uh, Islamic holiday, a month of fasting and service, um, is also, kind of makes me think about how we service our community in this time. So I wanted to give you a couple suggestions if you're open to them. Uh, for one, the Fresno Feasting Hall is hosting a fundraiser for the, let me remember what it is, the Fresno American Indian Health Project. So this is a nonprofit in Fresno City that provides health care to the Tachi the indigenous people of the area. I did a small fundraiser for them last year. We raised about $25. And this year I am hosting this fundraiser on Facebook. And so far we are at $110. I'm really hoping to see some more, mostly because right now indigenous populations are being adversely affected by the COVID-19 crisis. They are, I don't want to get into it here, but the short story is their communities are being devastated by this pandemic. So any money that you can give to provide low or no cost healthcare and healthcare access to the Fresno Indigenous folks would be very much appreciated. I'm going to put that link down there. The other thing is that I may have mentioned, or I may not have, my husband has done some fundraising and started a community garden in our low income apartments. We are still fundraising for that. And if you're interested in helping to grow food that is going to feed a community that most of us are on either some sort of Section 8 or have some sort of income assistance in order to pay rent, you are very welcome to support this fundraiser, which I will also put a link down in the comment section. Um, we are at 110 now. The current goal is 200, but if it goes over that, I am very willing to raise the goal. So please consider donating to this very important cause. If you want to support Indigenous folks in your own area, I am, of course, very much for it, especially as Americans. We owe a huge debt to the Indigenous folks that were taken off their land, that were systematically destroyed, either through murder or through the stealing of children and the erasure of their cultures. It's the very least we can do during this time, at any time, especially as pagans who say that we support the land and we cherish the land and the earth that we live on. We need to honor um, the agreements that the indigenous folks had on the land that you're living on and pay the rent, right? Pay the rent for to the people who really own this land. So that's about it. Um, it was kind of a long day, but I'm really glad that I was able to get this out to you guys. Um, I think I hit all the important stuff. Finally, though, if you do want to learn more about Bealtaine, I really do encourage you to go to the Irish Pagan School and check out their resources not only on this upcoming holiday, but the other holidays, the other fire festivals, as well as a plethora of fantastic information about Irish pagan practices, the Irish gods, and how to even decolonize your druidry, which is a very great class. So, with that, oh, okay, one more plug, which is if you like what I'm doing, you like what you're seeing, please be a pal and check out my coffee um, tip jar. You just put down $3, the cup of what a very plain, boring black cup of coffee costs, and that's just a quick financial way to say thank you and to support this work that I'm doing. All right, I think that's it for now. I appreciate all of you for being here. I hope that you go out into this world, you take a deep breath in, a deep breath out, unclench your jaw, let your shoulders rest, and take it one day at a time. May you stay safe, well, and well fed.